Who is the man in the mirror?
Yeah, the man in the mirror is the very extremely complicated question to answer. I think the easiest way to put it is an extremely multifaceted person. That's the best way to put it.
What's your favorite thing about the man in the mirror?
My favorite thing about the man in the mirror is his ability to compartmentalize information and emotions and use it when it needs to be used.
What's your least favorite thing about the man in the mirror?
My least favorite thing about the man in the mirror is his excessiveness and his ability to point out flaws in other people.
What's the first thing the man in the mirror does when he wakes up?
The first thing the man in the mirror does when he wakes up is honestly pick up his phone.
What's the number one driving force in the man in the mirror's life? What is your North Star?
The North Star for the man in the mirror is to progress and a better standard of living.
What's the most rewarding thing for the man in the mirror in his work as a fashion designer?
The man in the mirror is not really a fashion designer, but the most rewarding thing is seeing an idea come alive and actually reap the rewards of the idea.
The man in the mirror gets the chance to set a dinner with their favorite creatives in the world, dead or alive. Who are the 4 people who will be at this dinner with you?
The 4 people that the man in the mirror would choose is Kanye West, obviously. I'd have to actually think about this. Only creative people, eh? Nigo. I think Tyler the Creator. I need a woman in the mix. Tiana Taylor, maybe?
Can the man in the mirror walk us through his creative process, from initial concept to finished product?
The man in the mirror does not know how to answer this question because the process keeps changing.
How does the man in the mirror know when he's done with a garment and ready to put it out into the world?
The man in the mirror never knows. A garment is never done for the man in the mirror.
Why does the man in the mirror think building a fashion brand in South Africa is so difficult?
The man in the mirror actually doesn't think it's difficult.
What secret hidden talent does the man in the mirror possess that people wouldn't know?
The man in the mirror is very good at reading people. Almost too good, actually.
When the man in the mirror was a kid, he wanted to design cars. If he started a car company now, what would he call the car company?
The man in the mirror would not know what to call the company because most of the time what the man in the mirror has come to learn is that names and titles of things come based on the situation. So basically, the name of a brand is a reflection of the current times, essentially.
The man in the mirror has just won an award. What award did he win and who did he thank in his acceptance speech?
A Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, I can't actually win a Nobel Peace Prize because I'm not a peacekeeper. I mean, creative people are known for winning awards, to be quite honest. Who would I thank? I would definitely thank myself and my mom. More probably myself, though.
What advice does the man in the mirror have for anyone trying to make it in this world?
Just do it. I think to many it might sound very Nike to say that, but like, just do it. You really don't know. And not trying is not good enough of a reason for you not to try. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, try and fail. Even if you quit after you fail once, at least you tried. But just try. You really never know.
Has the man in the mirror registered to vote in the national 2024 elections? And what would he change about South Africa if he was president for a year?
The man in the mirror has voted. The man in the mirror would not be president of the country, but the man in the mirror will still answer the question, but he will never be president of the country. What would the man in the mirror change? I think, to be quite honest, the changes that I would put in are not realistic. And I know this sounds like a very textbooky answer, but it's not realistic based on how all the changes that need to be done work hand in hand with one another. I can say eradicate youth unemployment, but at the same time, I'd have to make education better. And to make education better, I'd have to invest in infrastructure because great education with terrible infrastructure is null and void. So it's like there's just too many building blocks required for South Africa to be a better country for it to just be based on one thing. Like even if we say the economy should get better, the economy getting better needs people to have jobs. For people to get jobs, we need to invest in the private sector. In order to invest in the private sector, we need to develop the private sector in some way, some form. You know what I mean? So that I know that when this guy graduates, he goes exactly to that place. So all these pillars of society are really broken. So it's very complicated, or rather very difficult for me to say this is how upstairs is going to look when I can't even really build the ground floor.
The man in the mirror gets an international call from their favorite designer in the world to collab with Dead. Who is this designer and what would you call the collab?
The man in the mirror thinks the second question, hate that I'm being political, but the second question is, like I said, a lot of words or names or titles towards like brands, I would assume also like songs and stuff, are really a reflection of where society is in that present moment in time. So it's almost like a time capsule, like titles for certain ranges or certain songs, even till today, can tell you where society was at that point in time. Maybe that's how R&B of back then is still R&B, which kind of tells that there was more love back then. So giving you a title to a collaboration without being in that present time is kind of difficult. And if I had to come up with a name, it would probably just sound cool, but it wouldn't be like a real thing for me to tell you. And a person I would collaborate with, it's a tough one because I think it's tough because I don't look at designers or people that, like, I don't look at them and like, yo, damn, I wish I could work with you one day. Because I wouldn't say it's out of reach, but it's not a priority thought right now. Like, I'd still really like to work with like people locally, you know, aside of internationally. And once I'm done who I need to do locally, then I'll be able to be like, okay, done this locally, I would like to work with that guy.
When future generations look back on the man in the mirror's work and contributions, what do you hope they will remember most about you?
You know, the man in the mirror, this is what he thinks, and this is what they call influence. I've actually never really been influenced like this probably in my life, where I repeat someone's words. But Kanye West says that there is ego in being remembered. I think that just says so much, because that means you do things to be remembered, and not necessarily because you are doing them. And that's where the ego is. I still think it's genius if you think about it. So honestly speaking, I would not want to be remembered. If people choose to remember me, like, that's cool. What they choose to remember me by, unfortunately, I couldn't control that. But hypothetically speaking, I'd probably want them to remember me as a visionary. But I really still think there's ego in being remembered. It sounds so vain. Like, yeah, when I die, they must remember me. Yeah, I did it. Like, it seems so vain.